Hi, I'm Sheri.
And I'm Chris Big Stick.
And we are
Bourbon
Besties.
So tonight we're going to talk about our 5 top finishes. Not necessarily our top 5 finished whiskeys, but just the top 5 finishes. But first, watch this.
Welcome back. I think it's a good time for a toast. Cheers.
Cheers.
Since we're going to be talking about finishes, in my glass, the drink I've poured is this Mary Dowling, which is a tequila barrel.
And what I'm drinking tonight is probably one of my favorite, it is one of my favorite rum cask finishes. It is the Breckenridge rum cask finish. So good.
Rum casks are tasty. So as we're getting together and figuring out what kind of content we're going to make, a lot of times that is driven by either comments that people have, posted or have DM'd to us, or, and this happens a lot, Chris will ask me a question and I don't know the answer. That's kind of what happened here.
Yes. So my question was, how can finished whiskeys still be considered bourbons if they're not in new casks?
Which is a great question. So how is it bourbon if it's not in a new charred barrel? And I did not know the answer because my first reaction was like, crap, I don't know. Let me go look. And I literally went and I picked up bottles and I checked to see if they were in fact labeled as bourbons or if they were just labeled as whiskeys, because many of the brands will kind of use both or either language. So it was interesting. And I'm like, no, they say bourbon. How could they be? How could they be bourbons? So what I learned in a little research was that our friends over at the TTB, that's the alcohol, no A in that, Tobacco Trade Bureau, have defined it as such. A bourbon is a bourbon because it starts as a bourbon. So everything that we're drinking, the way that the labels have to read is essentially to say that they are a bourbon whiskey finished in fill in the blank type of cask, because they started as a bourbon and they did have to meet all of those check marks to make what makes bourbon. As long as they did that, they are bourbons, and then they move them into a second maturation and they do a finishing. And that finishing, and this is a really interesting point, is there is no time at all that is required. So you can say that you are honey finished if you put it into a honey barrel for 1 day, 1 minute. It doesn't matter. There is no time requirement required to be a finished type of bourbon on a label.
But you're still adding stuff to it. So I don't know if I buy that.
So it's a hot debate whether or not there is a little bit of cognac or a little bit of tequila or, let's be real, my beloved honey left in the barrel. So are you adding it? And is it a wet barrel or is it a dry barrel? Right now, there are no regulations that I could find that define what makes that and what doesn't make that. What I do know is that all of it makes for some damn fine whiskey.
I'll agree to that.
So tonight we're going to talk about our agreed upon in order, because this is certainly not my list the way I would rank them.
I don't know how agreed upon it was. There was a little bit of...
It was a compromise.
Yeah. Let's just... Yeah,
this is our compromise list.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
For the types of finishes that we enjoy. Now, there are tons of finishes that are out there that we didn't touch on and we're not talking about. It doesn't necessarily mean we don't enjoy those, just they are not our top 5. So our top 5, I think we should run them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll start at number 5.
You want to do it backwards?
I do.
Oh, see. Of course you do.
Well, it's more climatic that way.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going for that never mind. That's not that type of show. Okay.
All right.
So number 5.
Number 5. So our number 5 pick is a brandy finish. Now, anyone who has been around me for any amount of time has kind of seen me knows that I love finished whiskeys probably more than most whiskey. Chris loves barrel proofs and full proofs and high proof, and I love finished whiskeys. So last year there was a grape brandy pick from a local store to us that was probably my favorite pick of the year, and I love brandy finishes. So we slotted brandy as the number 5 finish. You want to take number 4?
Sure. Let's talk about number 4 being the Sheri slash port finish. That was kind of low on my list. I'm not a big, there's a few that, I might come across that I like, but not very many that I enjoy.
So wine finishing has a lot of different flavor profiles, and they're all over the place. And I'm going to do my best to say them correctly, but I'll be honest, sometimes I have to listen to the way things are said to say them correctly. So there's the Mizunara. See, I couldn't get it out.
Mizunara.
Finish, right? So that's a type of wine finish. There's a lot of red wine finishes. I like some of them, but I lean into the port finish as probably my favorite, and the Sheri finish. They're deeper, they're heavier. I like those the most. So I was able to convince Chris to let me put those at number 4.
She convinced me, I guess. I mean...
Now, number 3 is also a compromise. So on our mutual list, number 3 is probably my number 1. I sometimes have called myself the Winnie the Pooh of bourbon because I love honey. I am straight, just head first into a honey barrel. I love a honey finish, and that's our number 3 pick.
Anyway, so number 2 on the list is wood finished. This was tough because the number 2 and number 1 could probably be interchangeable, because depending upon which, I guess I'm going to call it whiskey because I still don't believe that it's bourbon. But anyway, we're going to call it whiskey. So I guess it kind of depends on which whiskey it is, because there are some good wood finished whiskeys, and then there are some good number 1 finish. We'll let Sheri get into that one.
So when we're talking about wood finishes, this was another part of the conversation Chris and I were kind of interested in knowing, is a double oaked barrel, which is one of Chris's favorites, is in fact a type of wood finishing. Now, there are all types of other wood finishes that are special types of woods. I believe that the very popular right now amburana finish is actually a type of wood finishing. I'm going to Google that when we're done because my phone is not in my hand reach.
That's a surprise.
I know. So I can't look it up, but I believe that I remember reading that somewhere, that the amburana is actually a type of Brazilian wood. I'm going to feel silly if I'm way wrong and it's totally something different. But that's what I think that it is. So there are tons and tons of different types of wood finishing. Maker's Mark does a great series that is a wood finish. One of your favorite bourbons from last year was the BP, which is part of the wood finishing series. And that kind of leads us into what we agreed together is our favorite finish for us together if we were to compromise on it. We both love this type of finish very, very high, and that's how it became our number 1 pick. So you want to tell them what it is?
Our number 1 finish is rum cask. Gotta go with the rum cask. I mean, across the board, I don't think I've come across a rum cask that I don't like.
So I don't think that you have. In fact, I think that your sort of entree into liking rye is actually a rum cask. Angel's Envy rum cask was the first rye that you ever really enjoyed.
That Finnish rye was, God, so good.
It's very good. And it is pure maple syrup. It's very sweet. So some people say that it's a dessert type of a bourbon or rye.
I'll drink it every night.
And I would agree with that, but I also will drink it all the time because I love that. I lean into sweet. So when it comes to the rum cask finishes, there are a gazillion different ones that we have enjoyed, and sort of like the honey finish, anytime we see them, we almost instantly pick them up, whether they're Irish whiskeys. We've gotten the Grace O'Malley and the Tully-Do
yep.
rum casks. We tend to just pick those up. We like them. We enjoy them. The one thing I haven't done is I know there was a release this year for a rum cask scotch. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name of it because I never get them right, but it starts with an L, and if you're a scotch drinker, you probably know what it is. But
I'm not a scotch drinker, so guess what?
You don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
That's okay. So if anybody out there happens to be a scotch drinker and happens to have that rum cask and wants to, work out a sample, I would love to taste it to see if that could sway me closer to the Scotch world. Because I do love a rum cask.
But you don't love Scotch.
I don't, but you didn't love Rye's and you love the Angel's Envy.
I don't know if there's enough rum in this world to make me like Scotch. I'm just saying.
I think we have to keep an open mind. Those are our top 5 finishes and types of finishes that we enjoy the most. I am drinking a tequila finish, which I also like. I also love a maple finish. There are so many.
Doesn't? Maple.
There are so many different types of finishes and finishing out there that it is a fun thing to always be tasting different things and see what it does to the flavor profile. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, finishes are fun. They can be fun. You kind of, like Forrest Gump says, you never know what you're going to get. You really don't. Again, these are our top 5. What are your top 5? Let us know. Did we hit the mark on these? Did we miss the mark on something? You tell us.
I'll say, even to that point in the comments, what I would love to know is, we talked about rum finishes, wood finishes, honey barrels, sherry imports, and also brandies. Tell us your favorite from any of those categories. Maybe we haven't had them, and we would love the recommendations. So any of our tops, let us know specific brands that you have loved, and hopefully we can check them out. If you've enjoyed this content and listening to us banter, or maybe just for funsies you learned something today, we would super appreciate it if you would like and follow our channel. Certainly the thing we love the most is always engagement, so please comment and let us get a dialogue going. We want to know all about you. You're getting to know all about us. And I think that is what I have to say.
So again, if you guys have any idea for future content, either drop us a line on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Drop us a line. Let us know. We'll see if we can't work that in, because, we got so many ideas. Maybe I'll have to ask Sheri another question that'll blow her mind and she'll have to look up more stuff. But we'll see. So again, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoy following us on this journey. Me more than Sheri. But, hey, you're along for the ride. I hope you enjoy it. And with that, I think there's one thing left to say.
I agree. We are Bourbon Besties.
This goes back to the question. If you were Winnie the Pooh, am I Piglet or am I Tigger?
Well, I'm glad you don't think you're Eeyore. I like the either way.
Could I be Eeyore? I could.
No, that's sad.
So which one am I?
I still think you're Tigger.
Oh,